The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
There's a long pause, which tells us it might be working. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm ready.
It's working.
Sure.
And we're live.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
I don't have to cough because the allergies aren't as bad in Florida. Thank you. Thank you, Florida trees, because you're all palm, basically. I do the pause. I still do the cough, though, because it's like habit.
It's trademark.
So, yep. Let's producer Kevin know what's going on.
We have producer. Is Kevin on?
No, he's just producer Kevin.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Cool.
That is Bear. Sorry, that was my dog. This makes the awkward intro even better.
There we go.
Get it, Bear. Get it. All right, here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello, family. Welcome to PSVG OT. I am your host, Coach Mo, with my other host, Mr. Dev. Dev, dude, how are you? How have you been?
I am doing great. I am chilling. It's hot as all Hades out here. But you know, we had some good pool time. I'm chilling with my peoples. I'm doing great.
And we're also joined today with one of our top 5 favoriteest guests of all time, Mr. Lohr. The ghost is in the house. Sir, how are you?
I'm great. What an honor for you guys to have me on. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for saying yes when I asked you in stream. Now that makes it even better. Like,
oh, that was awesome. That was awesome.
I like to tune in and watch him when he's streaming, and you know, I do the lurker. I just like to listen to him talk, and I don't even watch him play the games. I just like hearing. You're very informative. I don't understand how you're not doing this for a living already, because you're above and beyond better than anything I've ever done. And I'm like, oh, all right. So Donnie sees this, I lose my job, which I understand. I'll be a fan. You and Dev can take over. But I love it. And I was like, you want to do OT on Saturday? You're like, let me talk to the wife. I was like, yes, this is great. We got Luke back. And I texted Dev, and he was like, yes, this is great. I was like, man, this is great. Now, we are PSVG OT. We are a relationship building podcast. First thing, we don't want anybody to be prepared. So none of you are prepared today, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
No.
And the second thing is, again, just telling stories and having a good time. So our story for today, it's your first pressure moment and the outcome. So get ready. I'm going to take everybody in the Wayback Machine.
You faded out on that. Your first pressure, what?
Your first pressure moment and the outcome.
The first pressure moment. Okay,
yeah.
So I don't quite know what you mean.
Well, I've got 2. I've got a sports one and a life one. So okay. I'm gonna tell you my sports story because it's the longer one, and then if there's time, I'll tell the life one. Okay. So they taking everybody in the Wayback Machine with the coach back when, you know, high fades and high tops and all those things were hip and cool. I'm playing varsity basketball. I'm a freshman. Now I don't play a lot that season. Okay, I'm very good at varsity football. I'm doing very well. I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. I'm doing well in track and field, but basketball season that freshman year, even though I was on varsity, not a good year. I didn't play a lot. I was behind some very tall men. Zach Gord, he's like 6'9", 6'10", went to Gonzaga, very good basketball player. And so I'm on the bench watching him play. Well, Zach caught the flu. So this other kid, Twist, he plays. And I'm Twist's backup. I'm like, okay, this is good. You know, I'm going to get some minutes today. Twist rolls his ankle in the first quarter. So now I'm the only big man in this game. So I'm playing. I'm giving it my all. I am rebounding. I'm boxing out. I think I airballed a layup because I was so nervous. But the game's going down to the wire. We're down by 2. We come down. I kick it out. Our point guard makes a layup. Tie ball game. With 10 seconds left in the game, point guard finds me wide open. I go up for a layup. I get fouled. I go to the free throw line. I airball the first free throw. Before that second free throw, all I could think was, oh my God, there are all these people watching. The seniors are watching. My friends are watching. My family's watching. Everyone here, if I make this free throw, I am a hero. I am the man. Coach calls timeout. Worst decision he ever made. Timeout gave me 60 seconds to think about all these things that had just popped into my head. Like, oh my goodness, everyone here is going to watch me. If I make this, we win.
Right. So Dev's right. He iced you.
Yeah, he iced me. I airball the second one. Now, I don't know if you know this. With an airball, clock doesn't start. So I'm in the situation now with the other team has 10 seconds. And all I can think about is I missed the free throw, which turns into the other team center getting an alley-oop dunk that gives them the win. That was my outcome.
Welcome to
that
basketball.
Was my pressure. Not a good moment for the coach, for the young coach. Now, I had some redeeming grace later on, but for that year, that's all I could think about. I cried. I wept. It was a bad situation. So, Dev, let's talk about your pressure moment and the outcome.
Let's see. I think mine would also be sports. This was sophomore year. Yeah, sophomore year. It was actually the first year I decided to actually play football. I got called up to the varsity team after our first game. Partially because I was probably too good to play JV and we needed more players on VAR. And the first 3 games I don't know how it is in every state, but the first 3 games you're always going to play like people who aren't even in your conference. We're playing against one of like the powerhouses at the time in LA in San Pedro. And this team has players lined up all the way down like the sideline. The whole sideline is basically full of their team. Like they've got that many players. We maybe have 20. So I somehow end up being the starting safety. And we got destroyed 51-0. But being able to be pulled up to varsity and actually play varsity and play the entire game, like I did not come out of the game at all. I was on all the special teams. I was at running back on offense and safety on defense. And at the end of the game, I got one of the game balls because the coach was like, if any of you seniors and juniors play with half the heart or the tenacity that Tyus did, we may have actually scored some points or had a much better game or a much better outcome. So it was just nice to be able to step up in that pressure moment and actually play the entire game, even though we got murdered, to just have like being noticed that I actually was out there, giving it my 110% every single play, even though we got murdered. So the outcome wasn't that great as far as, the score was concerned. But just the fact that they recognized, how hard I played in a pressure situation where I'm on varsity all of a sudden out of the blue, which I was not expecting. I think it turned out good for me, bad for the team, good for me.
Game recognizes game, sir. That's all I got to say. Mr. Luke, what was your biggest first pressure moment in the outcome?
Let's see. I was toiling around when I was thinking about what you guys were saying, so I'm going to stick with the sports stuff, but I want to talk about a positive one just for good moments. So throughout my entire high school career, I was the only freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior on varsity for soccer. Just the only one from my class, and I went to a very big school and a decent school at soccer. But I was the only one from my grade that played. And it was good and bad for a lot of reasons, but it was lonely, right? And like all my travel team boys and friends, they were at other schools just because of the nature of where we were. So senior night rolls around. I don't know if you guys had this at your schools, but like when you're a senior, you get senior nights, the last game of your senior career, of your home games. And well, every sport rolls out all their seniors and everything else, but they're in the middle at the halftime, soccer game at our home school. And I didn't have a lot of friends at the school. My parents and I walk out to the middle of the football field, just us.
Wow.
And, everybody's like, well, there's Luke and his mom and dad. All right. And so they do their little announcement thing and whatnot. But my job, like on the team, was to score goals. I was a forward. That was my job. And I was good at my job. I was a pretty decent soccer player back in the day, long ago. Goodness, way longer than I realize. I'm 32 now, guys.
I'm 37.
It's great. Like, I'm like, oh man, that was a long time ago.
I'm over in the middle, and I'm like, I see your sides.
Yeah, you know. But what was really cool about it was it was high school was tough for me, right? But you have good years and bad. But on this night, we were playing against a team that was a rival. We ended up losing 4-2, but I scored both goals, and both of them were impressive, I guess you would say. They were highlight worthy, I guess you would say. And it was neat because I was under all this pressure because all eyes were on me. It's his last game. He's been here, the only one from every year. And then in this moment, I got to give my parents and those few people that were there supporting me these moments of joy, and I got to have these memories of scoring these really cool, unique goals that, you know, they were Sports Center worthy in my high school mind. Who knows? Like,
Nice.
thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a hero. But like, who knows? Maybe it was just like, put it in the net. But it was fun, and it's a cool memory.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Now I'm just gonna say we got something in the chat
What you got
from Antonio talking about Luke's other pressure moment.
Oh, this is great. Go ahead and read it.
It involves a wedding night and a surprise photo.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
So we were just before we were recording this now live. I was streaming and in chat. Mrs. Ghost stopped into the chat to say hello, and so of course they're saying hello to her and chatting with her, and she's the highlight, right? No one cares about Ghost. It's Mrs. Ghost. But the joke is that Mrs. Ghost, Grandma Ghost, like on her side, she, the first time I met her, stared me down for like 20 minutes. And I mean, just stared at me. Everybody else had gone to take showers, was in other rooms, and she just stared at me for 20 minutes. And so it's this running joke in our family. And so on our wedding night, my father-in-law keys into our wedding room before we can get back and tapes up pictures of grandma all over the wedding suite. And I'm talking like, lift the toilet seat to go to the bathroom, there's grandma. Flip over Ghost's pillow, grandma. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, oh, this beautiful James Bond level shower, because it's a suite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grandma. Dude, it was
That is
it was
ultimate. That is the ultimate prank. Oh man.
Oh, talk about pressure, guys. I did not
So that brought two stories of mine up to my brain, and one I don't know if it's appropriate enough to share, so I'm not going to share it. But the other one I think it's okay. My last year in Florida before we moved to Texas, I have like two actual fears in my life. Number one, I am terribly afraid of snakes. I hate snakes. I have no interest in snakes. I don't want them around me. The other one, I legitimately don't like the Quaker oatmeal guy. It's not his food. It's the fact that I feel like he follows you in a room when he's on the oatmeal.
The guy.
Yes. Like, I feel like that oatmeal stares you down. And so that fear, other students knew about it. They thought it was hilarious. Like, coach is afraid of the Quaker oatmeal guy. So my last day of school, they all know I'm leaving and going to Texas. They decided to dress up my classroom. Quaker oatmeal guy all over the walls, on the computer, on the chairs, on the board, everywhere. Then they had one of the other coaches, my best friend at the school, dressed up as the Quaker oatmeal guy and come into my first grade class, scared the bejesus out of me. Like, I'm talking like, I still have pictures of it going, I cannot believe y'all did this. This is horrendous. But legitimately, like, it makes me smile and laugh. So it wasn't to the level of yours with the staring grandma on a honeymoon night, but it was still reminding me, and it's not like I share it.
Can I jump for 1 second?
Yes, go right ahead.
For a second. I tell my students every year when we get around October, I do descriptive writing, and I tell ghost stories or haunted stories, and my classroom's haunted and whatnot, and we use descriptive language to scare everybody. So like, we're talking talk about bones cracking and blood oozing, you know what I mean? Because it's it's English class. And every year I tie it into like what room number it is and like where kids are sitting and whatnot. And I'll do these things. I'll have people walk by the room and just like bang on the door and walk away. And like just little stuff like that. And 1 year, like the teacher that's dead that haunts the room, her name is Mrs. Pemdas. I had somebody beep in 1 year to like call in and telling them that my meeting with Mrs. Pemdas was canceled. Now Pemdas, if you remember, that's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And like after after the fact, the kids are like, "Oh my gosh, no way!" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's how I came up with that." But like every year, I'll scare the heck out of the kids with like little stuff like that, and they're middle schoolers, so they trip over their own feet, pencils fall off the desks. But I set up the situations like, "You guys ever been like just sitting there and then like your pencil just rolls off your desk, or you stumble for no reason like around this part of the school?" And they're like, "Yeah." Never mind the fact that pencils are super light, and if you breathe too hard, they'll move.
Right.
Yeah. So I always do that to them. Same premise. Haunted classroom. It's fun.
Nice.
I do enjoy a haunted classroom. That's good. That's good stuff. I wish I could think of that stuff, but I'm not creative enough.
Well, now you just gotta steal it.
See, here's the thing. I'm in a gym. How can you? I don't know. I'm gonna haunt the gym.
I mean,
I'm like, that ball moved on its own. Coach, you kicked it.
hey, rim trolls, man, rim trolls. Every time you miss, it's the rim trolls.
Now we have some questions. I pulled. Remember, I have 15 left for my former students in Texas, and I've been pulling up 5 at a time for every show. That should last us till we get to the end. And we got 2. We had a quick hitter added to us from somebody in the new Discord. Now I don't remember their name, so I'm not going to say who it was because I don't remember. But I have the quick hitter here. So Dev, you ready for the quick hitter?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to say it. Dev's going to say his response. Luke's going to say his response. Coach will say his. You guys ready? We got 3.
Yes.
Red or black licorice?
Red.
Skittles or Starburst?
Skittles.
Starburst. Puppies or older dogs?
Puppies.
Older dogs.
I'm also older dogs. And the last one. You guys ready for this? Anybody excited? These have been pretty good. I'm pretty excited with these quick hitters. All right. Last one. Rainy day or sunny?
Sunny. I can't stand the rain.
Rainy.
I'm also rain, but I can stand the rain.
I can't play basketball when it rains, so that
Yes, you
doesn't work
can.
for me. No,
Rain basketball, some of my favorite memories of all time.
You can't cross anybody up in the rain, dude. That's just
You can't. See these?
The ball
Soccer in the
doesn't
rain?
bounce back up.
Soccer in the rain is pretty amazing. You can take good naps. I was martial arts for a long time. One time in college, because we're morons, we went out in the middle of a hurricane and trained in the rain. Oh, we thought we were Neo and Miss Agent Smith. We thought we were cool.
Wow.
Oh my goodness! See, I would have watched that and just been dying. I would have made some popcorn and been like, "Look at these guys."
A lot of people
Right?
watched it. It was fun.
I'm glad you chose Starburst, because if you didn't, I'd have to bring up your Starburst.
Oh no!
story.
Listen, I know. There's somebody who's always lurking who has lots of things to say. So he actually shot me a text. He was like, "I thought you were starting at 10." I was like, "I'm at the movies." He was like, "Oh, way to make everybody late." And I was like, "Thanks, Dante. You're a great friend."
Dante is the best.
He is not. I love the guy, but I'm very unhappy with some of his life choices last week. So, all right. So our first question comes from one of my former students. What game can you play no matter what's going on? So I think he's looking for like your comeback game. So like a game you never get bored of. Dev, go ahead, brother.
I mean, in this current season, we all know that's Destiny for me. Like I never really get bored of Destiny. I can always come back to it. But outside of that, Legend of Zelda and Link to the Past and Tetris and Street Fighter 2. Those games are something I can always play, never get bored of. I can play Tetris and like Street Fighter for hours.
Nice.
Hours on end.
Ah man. Which Street Fighter? Just before we move on to Luke.
Just any of the 2. Anything 2. So it's regular 2 Turbo Championship, even the new challenges or whatnot. I can do any of those all day long.
Luke, how about you?
My comfort food games, Halo Wars 2 is a good one. I love Halo Wars 2. And I'll just put that on just to play. I know it didn't get the critical acclaim, but I love it. Let's see. Right now I'm playing Paladins, which is a game I just recently got into. And for some reason, I guess it's the visual aesthetic and the gameplay. That's a really fun, just like relaxing game. I can play it on a stream or I can play it by myself and I'm happy and I'm enjoying it. Beyond that, like just relaxing, like dual stick shooters I'm into right now. Just twin sticks is nice. Skyforce is one that I was playing. I'm excited about Assault Android Cactus hitting games with gold of all things. You know, just twin stick relaxing things that are easy on the eyes. I like that stuff because you don't have to think. If you can turn your brain off, it's good. You know.
Nice. Everyone's gonna think it's gonna be Madden. It's not. I do get Madden fatigue every once in a while, and it's basically like 10 years into a franchise, I get little Madden fatigue, and I'll take a couple of weeks off. But the one I can always play is Call of Duty. I've never not been able to jump in and play a Call of Duty game. I don't think that I've played a Call of Duty I didn't like yet. Okay, I know a lot of people didn't like the. Donnie's gonna kill me for this.
Advanced Warfare.
Not that one. The one, Infinite Warfare. I
loved Infinite Warfare.
That story. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna go spoilers right now. When the robot dies at the end of Infinite Warfare, I literally had to push pause and take a minute because it was such a good story. What I loved with Infinite Warfare was there was no load times on the story. Because when the game was loading, it was a cutscene showing like Mass Effect used to do it. And it was just such good writing. Like, it was a great story. I loved it to pieces. I'm over here, Donnie, you have to play this. And he played, was like, dude, that's a great story. I'm like, yes, it is a wonderful story. So Infinite
Warfare was shot in the foot by Activision in the same way that EA shot Titanfall 2 because it was released.
Titanfall 2. God,
me too. Oh, dude, I wish that. It's so frustrating. I have Titanfall. Dev, I know you and I haven't hung out on stream before, but I just moved a Titanfall poster that was behind me because it was reflecting on the streams. But I've got Titanfall everything all over the room. But Titanfall 2, same type of thing with BT being that character. But also like Infinite Warfare, when they released it next to Modern Warfare Remastered, the community was predisposed to dislike Infinite Warfare. And I thought that was kind of frustrating for me because I thought it was a good game. But I feel like a lot of times with Call of Duty, because those are comfort food games, like nothing changes year to year. They're still running on old tech engines. It's still got code in there from I think about 8-9 years ago. But it's their business practices separate from gameplay that cause it so much strife, including like Black Ops 4. I'm excited for Black Ops 4, but I mean that season pass mess they're doing right now, that kind of irks me a little bit. So it's a frustrating thing because the gameplay is clean.
Yeah, no, story hurt me. Like, this is the first time I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pre-order it. And then I was like, if I'm being honest, I've spent more money on collector's editions of Call of Duty than I have any other franchise.
Really?
Because they're so cool.
Yeah, I still have the Black Ops 2 mini fridge. No, 3. Black Ops 3 mini fridge.
I've got the night vision goggles from Modern Warfare 2.
Yep.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So those are the only ones I kept from the move. Was I was like, I'm gonna keep all my Black Ops or all my Call of Duty stuff.
So just to shout out some guys in the chat. Antonio Guillen says that his go-to game is Fortnite. Mystic Shadow says that he's or Mythic Shadow is saying Near Automata. He'd say Taken 7 or Taken 7, but also any Halo game. And then he also asked, so if you had to choose between the two, Infinite Warfare or Titanfall 2, what would you go to?
Ooh, see, here's the thing. I feel like Titanfall 2 may have been the better overall story. However, I enjoyed Infinite Warfare more because of the no cutscene or the no loading screen. It was all like your loading screen was the cutscene of the movie showing, and those are some of my favorite moments. So I would go Infinite Warfare, even though I do believe Titanfall 2 was a better story.
I think it's Titanfall 2 for me as well. And I'm a Titanfall 2. I'm a Titanfall fanboy. Like I'm sad the mobile game's going away at the end of July. I've been playing that since it came out. I've Titanfall on my walls. I've all the pop figures. So I think, but Titanfall's mostly DOA right now. So
yeah, I'm definitely would go with Titanfall 2. And if they don't freaking give me a resolution to whether or not BT is still kicking, I'm gonna have to hurt somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh man, that's a good question. So our next one is the scariest injury you've ever had. So I'm gonna give you guys time to think because I can remember mine pretty night and day.
I'm ready for this. Yeah.
Everyone, my car accident was bad, and it was my worst injury, but it wasn't my scariest. My scariest was I was swimming in Lake Merwin, which is a lake outside of Vancouver, Washington, I believe, or it might have been Vancouver, BC. It's one or the other. I can't remember which Vancouver we were at. But I was there with my brother. Now, my brother, he's always been a daredevil type person. He jumps off stuff. It's me, him, Dante, and Dante's cousin or somebody's with us. My brother's like, hey, you should dive off this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. He doesn't stop talking to me about jumping off of this little bridge into the water for, I want to say it was like 3 days that we were up there camping and hanging out. So for 3 days, dude, you should jump off this. No, I'm not going to do it. Next day, dude, you should jump off this. No, I'm not gonna do this. Third day, dude, we're gonna leave. You should totally jump off this. Fine. Like I came to my brother and Dante and everybody else, like, dude, you should totally do this. So I do it. I jump off of this. It is a bridge into the water. However, it's one of those old lakes where when the water rises, it covers up old docks, old things like that. Things you can't see because the water's so murky. When I dove, my leg got caught on one of those big, you know how they have those big logs underneath with they have the metal things on the side?
Yeah.
It got caught on one of those. I have 2 gashes on my leg. One is from another story I'm not going to tell, but my leg gets caught. And because of the way it hits, it goes through the leg. I can't get up. Like I'm stuck underwater trying to get up. And Dante said you could see like my feet kicking out, but that's it. So they come in.
Coach, come on, man.
Dude, yeah. I'm over here. I'm going to drown. This is how I go out. I go out doing something that my friends peer pressure me into, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, into the road. Like, I got Boys the Men playing in my head. It's over. It's over. They got me up. They got me to the shore, and they were literally like, okay, what do we do? We should put tape on it. So they try to tape it up. It bleeds to the tape. Finally, they call 911. They rush me to the hospital. And the worst part was the family I was staying with was like, they get this phone call. Hey, we got the bleeding stopped, and he's on the way to the ER. Where is he?
Right.
It was just the worst situation ever. I ended up only needing like one surgery to fix it, but I had like this indentation on my leg from it, so it's crazy. So that was mine.
Wow.
Yeah. Whew. Remember that, Dante? Enjoy that.
Dang it, Dante.
So Dev, what was your scariest injury you've ever had?
Well, I'd have to say concussion. This was, I think, junior year of high school. We had drove all the way down to Jordan High School, which is actually a good hour and a half, 2 hours away from where my school is at. And it also happens to be in the projects. So not exactly the greatest neighborhood at all. And it's just a passing league game, just a simple 7-on-7 passing league during the summer or whatnot. So playing safety, I see, I think it was running a skinny post. I break on the ball, jump for it to go for the interception. Apparently, and I don't know what happened because I don't remember. We must have butted heads in some way or something because I ended up having like a huge gash on the side of my face, but I don't remember anything past breaking on the ball and then waking up on the sideline. Apparently, I got up and I walked over to the sideline on my own power. I don't recall any of this to this day. And when I get to the sideline, all I can think of is, okay, where am I at? What am I doing? I'm just like looking around, just like totally just confused. And I have no idea what's going on. And it was like the scariest thing to not have any idea of where you are or why you're there. And it took I would say probably like a good 45 minutes till stuff started coming back to me, like the actual drive out there and where we were and things that had happened previously in the day, because I had no idea where I was. I knew who everybody was. And when they told me, we're here for a passing game. You all right? I'm like, okay. All right. And then just like slowly everything starts coming back to me like, oh crap, we drove in coach's car. We were in the back of his Forerunner, like just stuff like that. But it was just like really scary to actually go through that process of just basically waking up and not knowing what happened and where you are and why you're there. So that was definitely my scariest injury.
See, I didn't realize when we were talking about, we actually had a really good discussion about concussions, because there's a lot of data out there about how horrible football is because of concussions. And I'm like, guys, I played all throughout middle school, elementary, high school, and played in college, and then later played semi-pro and arena ball. I've never had a concussion, never once. And so I was asking for data. And so hearing that it happened for you in 7-on-7, that's one of the areas where, like with my kids, we actually make them wear those soft padded helmets now.
Yeah.
Or 7-on-7. People are like, why do you make your kids do it? It looks so bad. I'm like, because that's when we're more likely to get hurt, is when we don't have the proper equipment. And so hearing you say that, like, that makes total more, like, I was like, man, I can't believe, like, I don't have a lot of teammates like in all the teams I played on, I've probably seen 4 real concussions. Thousands of snaps, thousands of plays. I've seen 4. And those were all, 3 of them were people tackling the wrong way, not doing their job right. And the other one, the one that's for real, that was because the dude didn't have, like, his chin strap wasn't on and he got lit up. And so, like, hearing you say like that, just it reaffirms to me why I'm like, people have got to be paying attention to the gear and what should be worn and when. So, dude, oh man, sorry, that little tangent coaching thing.
Good. So that's what the show is about. It's all good.
So, Luke, scariest injury.
I'll tell you, it's about my shoulder, but I will tell you, I've had 5 concussions.
Soccer, it happens more in soccer than almost anywhere else.
That was going to be exactly what I was going to say. 4 of them were soccer related. The fifth was Taekwondo related. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense, right? That would make sense, all 4. But it's because of the lack of headgear and such like that. So to any of your players that are listening or your students or whatnot, absolutely, because that headgear is important. You know?
Yeah. No, I preach it for 7-on-7. I'm like, please, boys, wear this. I'm like, coach, it looks stupid. I'm like, all right, wear it or don't play. Your choice. I could care less.
You just got to make it look good.
You put the swag in it.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So
yeah.
But Luke, go ahead, bud.
Worst injury I ever had, or scariest, I think is the actual question. This one is, I was probably 22, 21, 22, fresh out of college, playing in adult league soccer. And I was in dead sprint. I mean, there was a time in my life pre-broken bones that I was way faster, right? And I was just gone. And I remember it. And we were playing against a team that was, they always won. They won everything. And then I was this new kid to them in the league and whatnot. And I'm just dead sprints. And a guy slide tackles me from behind, which is a dirty move unto itself, but it was violent, apparently, the way they did it. And I remember it because I went end over end, and I remember sitting up, and it was very weird. It was a very primal moment. I've been injured before with concussions, but never with what had happened to me. And I remember just this primal screaming. And my first thought was, who is screaming? Like, why are they yelling like that? Because it was very animalistic, very primal. And then I realized it was me, and I was cradling my arm. I looked down, and my shoulder did not exist. Oof. And it looked like my arm had been shattered. Is what it looked like. It was mangled. I remember putting it back, not putting it back into its place, but I remember like cradling it so that it would be with my body, right, to get it close to me. And I had probably about 15 more seconds before I went into shock. And I spent that 15 seconds telling my friend Nick, I said the word hospital 3 times, and then I was gone. And I remember going away, and I watched everything else happen to me. It was very weird. It was almost out of body, almost spiritual, except it was driven by pain. And I just remember separating from myself and watching. They took me to the hospital. They drove me there. I remember being very thirsty in the car. I remember in the ED, they gave me an aspirin because that's all they're allowed to give you right away. Oh, wow. Because if you triage it, I'm gonna live, right? There was no blood or bone protruding. I'm gonna live. So if you're triaged, you're gonna sit there with your broken arm or broken whatever. It ended up that through all the X-rays and everything else, it was only dislocated in a very violent fashion, but it was out of its socket for about 8 hours.
Oh God!
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. And apparently, and we didn't know this at the time, my labrum had been torn as well.
That's a tough one too.
We were at a teaching college because I went to East Carolina University, which is a teaching school. Students put it back. And I remember I was drugged in a very unique way. They put it back. I remember they messed it up twice. Oh, God. But I don't remember that hurting. I remember me saying ow. And the teacher, with them being like, that's not right. You wanted it. And I remember, they had ribbons and stuff. I don't know. It was very odd. It's very strange. I think, actually, the medicine just blanks your memory out, but all this you can feel at the time. I'm not sure. But ended up the labrum was torn as well. And I was very poor. Take this for what you will politically, but medicine's expensive. I couldn't afford to go to therapy, physical therapy and stuff like I should have. I was a first-year teacher. Just through both ignorance, naivety and money, I didn't go to therapy and didn't have them continue looking at it after it was initially, put together.
Yeah.
Fast forward 10 years, I meet my wife, not 10 years, but something close to that. My wife makes me get surgery. We find out that it was actually horrifically damaged, way worse than we thought. And I've been living with pain for 10 years. And my wife is a physical therapist. Got to look at the video of them doing the surgery on me and stuff. And I remember she told me, I was doped up on opioids the day after the surgery. And she was like, I saw the video. It was way worse than they thought. And I remember looking at her, and pardon my language, I was like, does this mean I'm a badass? And she was like, yes, sweetie, it does. Sure. It does. And I was like, good. Because for 10 years I've been complaining my arm hurts. It was quite amusing.
Wow. Man.
I want to go play against that team. I just want to be like, listen, I'm gonna play a little midi today.
The next year, dude. The next year. I built an entire soccer team the next year and to beat them. And we did. And we beat them for 3 years straight until I moved out of that town because of that.
I would watch that movie.
Petty, party of one. Petty, party of one.
Right.
All right. This one is not from a student. It was actually texted to me while driving over here because I was late, as he said. So here we go. If you could move and live next to one person, who would it be? I'm going to give my answer. Not Dante. So take that with a grain of salt, Big Daddy. No, it would be you. Like, I miss him to pieces. It's one of those friendships I'll always cherish and be very grateful for. So, Dev, how about you?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Kevin, because he's always cooking.
Would you want to live in Boston, though? That's got to be rough.
No, not at all. I don't know. This is a tough question because all of my friends are just spread out all over the world. Like, it's ridiculous. I'd probably have to move to Houston and go live close to the godparents of my kids. They happen to be our best friends. It's my wife's best friend. It's one of my best friends. So I think it would just make sense. So that's probably what we do.
Good answer. Luke, how about you?
Again, the question is move, or they would move to me, but live next to someone, correct?
Yes, live next to somebody. So
this is going to sound so funny. I'm toiling between two names right now. The first answer I think is I would love to move next to Barack Obama because I feel like that man's got some stories. I want to talk to him.
I would be visiting you because I'm in love with his wife.
Oh,
Michelle Obama. Woo.
Yes.
Yes.
But like, man, I feel like that guy could be everyone's friend. He would probably give great advice. He was a professor, so he's knowledgeable. He's smart. You could pick his brain about things. I feel like he would respect me when I want to, like, because I like to be alone a lot. I feel like he'd be a great neighbor. Hey, you want to do a cookout? No worries. It'll be fun. You do your thing. Like, it'd be awesome. But as far as like real choices that I could actually pull off and not have people storming my door down. Honest to goodness, I don't know if you guys know Sean Capri in the
like the pants,
Sean like Connery Capri like the pants.
Yeah.
That guy. Talk about digital friends, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't realize the impact he's had on me probably, but like, man, I love that guy. He's always good to people. I've seen him be angry on a stream, like lose his temper a bit, and then just be like, guys, I'm sorry. And like when he'll talk to you, he gives the best advice. I feel like even though he's got kids, I'd still like him because I don't have children and my wife and I don't plan on it. And I always worry about that with people because some people like, treat you differently if you don't want children. I feel like he'd be so cool about that. And I feel like he'd be an awesome neighbor,
I have to 100% agree with you right there.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of interaction with Sean, but what I have gleaned, he's a good dude. That's all I know.
Yeah. Just good
Sean's
people.
awesome.
Heart of his hearts, good people.
Yep. I mean, we are associated with him now. I don't know if you guys knew that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So actually, I am supposed to announce our Patreon producers. So we want to say thank you to LA Braun James. And we want to say thank you to Michelle Obama for being our Patreon producers today.
Is LeBron like the odds are like 98% he's going to Lakers, right?
Dude, he's already there.
He's there, but he's always here in LA. So it's not.
He's in LA.
He's
His
always
kids like
here.
it here. Could you imagine his kids playing?
Let Lonzo Ball on an interview again. I miss the Ball family being on Saturday Night Live. Do you remember those impressions? If you've not seen the LeVar Ball impressions on Saturday Night Live, they're the best.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan does them. They're so good.
See, I'm not a LeVar Ball fan in the listening to him talk. I'm a LeVar Ball fan in the actions. I love the fact that he helped his kids do something that goes against the system I don't support. I don't like college sports. Okay, I don't like the fact that when I look back and go, I helped this school make millions of dollars, and the only thing I got was, again, I got a free education. Really appreciate that. However, your millions of dollars outweighs my free education if I look at it long term. Right. You know what I mean? And so I like the idea that he's trying to go about making that change in his own way. I will tell you, my students and I watched 4 or 5 games together of them when they were in, was it Lithuania?
Lithuania.
Yeah. And we watched and we cheered because we were like, you know what? We support that someone's doing something different. And I wish he would have gone about it a little more professionally.
Yeah.
Because that means there'll be more kids going with him. And
it's
then
frustrating because his speech patterns and his attitudes towards things are not role model-esque. You can't look up to him in a sense in that, but you can respect the action of what he's doing, because you're right, he is breaking a mold and breaking a system. But that comes down to the NCAA's corruption and the schools that are involved corruption, because I am all for them getting that free education and doing what they do and playing a sport, but I would like to see that money more transparently and equally distributed, and not lining the pockets of big name coaches and big name this to sell a product. Let the product on the field or on the court sell that product, and let's make sure that Title IX is respected for all the athletes that don't get the funding. Because like I've read plenty of stories where Title IX is not being honored or respected because it doesn't bring in the same finances. So just stuff like that.
It's just a huge mess, especially with college basketball, where it's a lot of just one and done. So, like, let me see how we can make the most money out of you real quick before you go, when it really should be about how do we further this kid. The whole idea of it is not, it shouldn't be about the money. It should be about how do we do best by the kids.
Right.
And it just, I'm with you. Like, I can't stand college sports for that reason, because it's really not about the kids at all. It's, let me find somebody who's going to fit my system so I can get wins and line my pockets.
Right.
It's just sad. It's sad and it's maddening in a way. But yeah, I wish LeVar would just shut up and just do business LeVar, because business LeVar actually gets stuff done. He promotes his kids like no other. Like, he is there for those kids. Like, he is like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make sure you guys eat, to make sure you guys get the best that you can possibly get. So I respect the hell out of him for that. But if he would just shut up and stop trying to be, Hollywood, and just be the business part and get that stuff done, I'd be all about it.
Agree.
No, yep, with you there. Now that's the end of my questions for today. But is there a curveball, sir?
There's not. The kids have driven me crazy today, so there is no curveball.
See, I always enjoy it more when there's no curveball. I'm just saying that as somebody who loves you. Like, I'm not a curveball.
You like being
fan.
prepared because you're the only one.
I do like. I like knowing when I got to answer. I appreciate that. So we're getting to that point where we do the wrap up. Before we do that, we do our game of the year. So right now, as of whatever day this is, I think it's June 30th, 2018. Luke, what is your game of the year?
Crap. I've played a lot of games. The only one that I think, the only game of the year worthy game that I've played this year is Nier Automata. But that's because it came to Xbox, and that's where I played it, right? God of War is probably the answer, but I have not played it. Monster Hunter could be in there, but it's over there in the wrap. I've been having so much fun because I'm a budget gamer and I have Game Pass. And so I've been playing a bunch of old stuff and having a blast. I've been playing State of Decay. Oh, my game of the year is State of Decay 2. And that game is way more fun than it has any right to be. That game is addicting. It just gets you. It's got a charm to it. But I'll tell you what it's not, guys. It's not Sea of Thieves.
That's
Amen.
good.
Dev, how about you? What's your game of the year?
My game of the year is the same game as it was last week. It's definitely Far Cry 5. Like I said, that game is just fun. I love the story, the open world, the fact that there's just always plenty to do. The gameplay is good. That game. It just.
Dev, did you play the Vietnam?
I have not played the Vietnam yet, but I do want to get
It's
into
good.
that.
It feels Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
It feels like Far Cry 3.
Yes. I'm excited for that.
Well, I'm really glad Luke's here, not just because he's such a wonderful person, but because we have the same game of the year. State of the K2 is incredible, but if it wasn't for playing with friends, it wouldn't be on my list. Playing with Dan and Brian and Josh and Ray and going through and doing all these crazy things with them, watching Q jump into my game, wreck 3 cars by getting them stuck in places we didn't know you could get cars stuck. Like, those are the things that I'm going to remember. Like, I'm going to remember those moments when I'm playing with a group of people. It's not that the game is like world-bending and beautiful. It's not that it's got these amazing mechanics. It's the joy you get from doing the missions with friends. It's the joy you get of building a base and then carrying those 3 survivors over to a new one. When I had to pick that list, and I think I had 11 survivors in my first colony, and I had to go through and go, well, I love, her, she and I did this mission, and me and him did this. And so I ended up starting with 3 girls who all contributed so much to other people's games that I was like, nope, I got to take them with me. And so that's the stuff like I'm going to remember. When I see Dan Anthony is one of my favorite people that I've gotten the chance to become internet friends with. And I love the dude.
Anthony.
Yep, he's wonderful. If you didn't go read it, I wrote that Madden article about him.
Oh, so good. So good.
Oh, man. That's psvg.blog. You can go check that one out.
That was the coach retiring one?
Yep. That's about me and him did a Madden franchise in Madden 17, and we made it like 15, 16 years deep. And he made a comment. He's like, I don't think I'm going to pick up Madden 19 this year. And me being who I am, I went and ran with it. And I had other people that I had the created characters that he had used because it was so far past. I had other Madden, GMs that play with us, Nate, Ray, Josh, all those guys. And it was just a good time. I had a lot of fun writing it. But seeing him spend 50, 60, 70 hours in that game and grinding out the achievements because he enjoyed it so much, I'm going to remember that part. I remember him sending a text message, go, hey, do you want to play tonight? And I was like, sure, I'll jump in for a couple hours. And us goofing off and joking and telling stories and going out and clearing out play hearts and doing all this stuff. And me watching him build up his base, go, oh, yeah, if you do this, this, and this, and me learning. He found out that if you set off the PA speaker at the baseball diamond, you bring zombies to you.
Oh, man.
And so we're out there he's like, hey, stand here for a minute. Like, oh, okay. Zombies comes for me. I almost die. Like, that's the stuff I'm going to remember. That's going to be my state of the K2. They did what Sea of Thieves needed to do better. If Sea of Thieves would have had that environment, I still believe today, if you could have edited your boat more for cheaper, that game would have gotten it to more people.
I wonder if Sea of Thieves will not have a Destiny-like story to it. And I mean that, I know, Dev, I know that's your game, man. But I mean, like, the idea that it hits real hard. I mean, we were all streaming it, playing it, trying it out, and then it died a little bit, right? Yeah. And that happened to Destiny Vanilla. And then Taken King came. Oh, Taken King was dope. I loved Taken King, And then Destiny 2 Vanilla hits, and that game is DOA right now. It has not had the community that it needed to be Destiny 2. But with their Season 2 outline,
Borbone actually brought a lot of people back.
Did it really?
Yeah, like the community is actually, they rallied around Warmind. Warmind fixed a lot of stuff, and then what they're doing with Forsaken, we're just like, let's go.
I'm glad to hear that, because it sucks when one thing I do not like about the gaming community is that it can be very vitriolic, and we tend to put people down for liking something different than we do. And I think that's ridiculous. I don't care if you play on PlayStation. I don't care if you like your Switch more. I don't care if you play mobile, whatever. But when Destiny died, I think a lot of people cheered.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were sad. And I think that's silly. Like, I don't want Destiny or Sea of Thieves to fail. I don't even want Call of Duty to fail. I want fair, good, consumer-friendly stuff. Destiny players, you guys are a special breed of loyal because they've done you dirty, but they've also given you great content, and so I really hope that it continues to be something where you feel like they're giving you worthwhile content because you deserve it,
No, I agree.
And I definitely hope that Sea of Thieves has that kind of turnaround story as well. Like I think there's something there. They just got to figure out how to bring it out, because there's definitely there's some good stuff in that game. It's just like this. There's not enough content to really keep you coming back. They need to find that gameplay loop that keeps you addicted and wanting to come back every night. So
agreed. And that's the difference between like State of Decay and Destiny and Call of Duty and Halo. And what have I been playing? Paladins. There are these loops that you go on. Whatever that loop is, you're looping. With Sea of Thieves, it's almost forgive the term, but it's like a one and done. You do it and it's like, oh, okay, I've seen the shark. Oh, there's no Kraken. Oh, I go get a chest again. And it's about being with people, but that can only last you so long. I'm a solo player more often than not. If my boys aren't online, or if like most of my friends now are fathers or mothers, they don't have the flexible schedule that I do. So it's difficult when you have a game that doesn't have a clearly defined loop of play.
Yeah, exactly. I think you hit it on the head.
Yeah, because with Sea of Thieves, like me and Dev jumped in with Q, and I remember who the fourth person was, and we had a blast. Like we were playing and cheering and doing all this stuff. But the next time I played it with just me, I was like, this isn't as much fun. Right. And then the third, fourth time that loop didn't continue, and you're just like, without that group, it's not the same. State of Decay 2, I enjoy it solo, but I prefer it with the group because I can still go take a play card out by myself. Sea of Thieves, I had friends who were like, how do you steer that by yourself? I'm like, okay, well, you have to jump on this to look down at the map from the thing to make sure you're going the right direction, and you do this and this and this. And I got pretty good at doing the two-man shit by myself. Most people like didn't have mastered that skill. And so and so it's one of those things, like I'm just like, if you're playing by yourself, that game's horrible if you don't know how to do those things already. So all right. Now,
I just want to give a shout out to Mythic Shadow X. He said his game of the year is God of War, so we're all wrong. Basically.
I played almost an hour
in the mixer chat with me. He came from my mixer group.
Thank you.
I played almost an hour of God of War and never went back. And it's just, if the dad-son conversation wasn't so repetitive, I feel like I would have gotten hooked. But that took me out of the story.
What's funny?
Oh, go ahead, Dev.
The father-son stuff, it just didn't bother me that much. I just started yelling at my own son and just saying boy like that. Boy.
But Dev, I think you actually hit on something that happens to a lot of us, and that's like games don't click with us at a certain time, but we might go back to them. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking over like games that I've been playing over the past year. There's some games that I just, when they came out, no interest. But it's all about mood and idea. And when you return to something, it might get you back. When I first started State of Decay 2, I was like, yeah, not my jam. Went back to it with a different attitude, wasn't cranky, wasn't tired, or whatever it was that was keeping me from being in that mode. And I enjoyed it a lot. But I had the same experience as you with Horizon. I have Horizon over on my shelf. I played maybe 2-3 hours. Dude, my PlayStation's not even hooked up in my game room. It's in our bedroom for Netflix. But like I don't even have an interest in returning to it, and it just didn't click. And that's not because the game's bad. It just didn't click. And I hate when that happens because I feel like I miss out. But like Far Cry 5, Dev, that game, incredible. But there were times when I just couldn't get into it. Other times where I'm like, yes.
Right.
But I can only handle so much stoned white guy in the I don't know, in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
It just made me mad every time I was playing, and then I'd get stoned for no reason. I'm just walking through a field, and then they teleport me to a prison. It was very confusing. Couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, as we wrap the show up, Luke, where can people find you? Anything that you're working on or got in the works coming up that you want us to shout out from Bleachers for you?
You can find me on Twitter anytime at MLS Reserves. And because I'm really good at branding, my Mixer channel is not named that. Mixer.com/insipid ghost. That's where I'm really having the most fun lately is streaming on Mixer. It's been an awesome time, and community has been wonderful. I have such a blast with those people in the Mixer community. So mixer.com/insipidghost would be a great place where I'd love to see people show up.
It is a wonderful follow, and I'm telling you folks, just put it on and listen, because the dude, he did put some knowledge out there. I learn more in my hours listening as a lurker than I do in anything else that I do during the day. So give him that look. Dev, how about you? Anything you're working on?
I just want to just double back and say, yes, his Mixer is awesome. I also lurked in there for a little while. Good stuff. Really good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can just find me at Dev Tyus on the Twitters. Come talk trash with me, because that's probably my favorite thing to do. Outside of that, catch me on the OT. And if you want to join our Discord, our Make Us Better Discord would be awesome. Just come through. We are constantly chatting it up, way more than you'd imagine.
Yep. It's, man. See, I put on Twitter that I was nervous about that, because like I liked our PSVG Discord because I was comfortable. Like I knew I could go into the Madden room and be like, Madden, and 3 people would jump in and be like, Madden. I'm like, yes, that makes sense. This is a good world that we live in. I could jump into the OT room and be like, hey, jokes in life, or you know, put a Starburst up there, and people who have followed know the joke. They understand why Starbursts are funny on this show. But we moved over, and within yet from last night to today, I've played more games with people from their community than I think I've played with people from PSVG in probably a year. Wow, I jumped into some Fortnite. I jumped into a little bit of Halo. I jumped into a COD match. Like I did a little Overwatch. Like it's such a welcoming community. And the thing is I don't follow a lot of the Make Us Better, and it's not because I don't like them. It's because I'm not a Nintendo fan, and I'm not
Nintendo.
And I'm not a PlayStation guy. And when those aren't your passions, you don't gravitate normally towards those things. Now I want to, because I want to know who these people that everyone's talking about is, and I want to get to know them. So please come on over to that Discord and chat. It's been amazing. It's been just super wonderful. I'm loving it, and I believe it's free.
Yes,
is that right? It's free now.
Free to join for anybody. You don't have to support us through Patreon, but if you'd like to, we would definitely appreciate the support. But yeah, come through and just chat, meet some people, play some games. I mean, that's what it's all about when it comes down to it.
Beautiful. I'm working on nothing. I actually
that's a first.
Yeah, I've got like 3 articles that I had written, but they're not good, and so I scrapped them. Said no, thank you, I'm done. I have been trying Mixer more, just 30 minutes here, 40 minutes there. I did the light stream thing. That is sweet. Have you messed with that now, Luke?
Wow. Yes. All right, so forgive the soapbox, but Mixer's community and Mixer's support has been wonderful, because I was so the risk of being oversharing. I get very nervous. I get very anxious about just life. And so sometimes I don't want to stream, and sometimes I get nervous about it, but the community on Mixer has been awesome, and their customer support and their partnerships are awesome. Like they have a group called Lightstream, and Lightstream works with them. They're a third party technically, but they work very closely, and it allows you, it's a third party in browser app. So their OPS works really well with it, and their APIs are beautifully well done to mix in. But you can open your browser on your phone or on your Chromebook, on your laptop, and in browser you can create overlays, you can create transitions, you can create sound bites to augment your Mixer channel. I must give a shout out to Antonio Guillen, he's in the Make Us Better community. Wonderful gentleman. He created my overlay, and we use Lightstream to put it in because I do not own a PC. I stream everything off my Xbox, and then I use my phone or my Chromebook to add an overlay with Lightstream, and it's wonderful. It's very user friendly. It's very simple, and it allows me to do that with all without a PC. So I would recommend it. It's really neat. Yeah.
So I jumped in last night, and was that you were actually, I think you had liked it or commented it. The people from Mixer reached out to me. Well, one of them jumped in the stream and watched, and then a person from Lightstream jumped in and watched, and I'm just playing Civ 5, and they're walking me through the overlays and how to do it and helping me out. Just an amazing community. And like streaming scares the bejesus out of me, because one, I don't like talking to nobody. And like, so a lot of times I just get into the game and I just play, and then I don't say anything. That's part of why I love you so much, is that when you're talking, like you're constantly like, I love it when you have like those moments where you do those reteachable moments of, hey, I did this. Oh, hey. But if you're just a lurker, that's okay too. And you're always like reaffirming that however people enjoy your Mixer, it's okay. And so I'm like, I don't have the comfortability to do it.
It's taking me practice because nobody wants to feel like they're by themselves and talking to no one. But at the same time, it's kind of like you're on the radio. When you're on the radio, no one's talking back to you, right?
Right.
So you find a way to talk. And I'm better at streaming some games than others, and I'm better at talking sometimes than others. And that's kind of why I joined it, and that's why I mentioned the anxiety thing. Because sometimes, even if I know I should be streaming, I won't, because I know I'm just not comfortable right then and there. Other times, yeah, I'm totally fine. And it's been a very thing where I'm very honest with my audience about that, because I worry about talking to no one. I worry that I'm offending the lurkers with silence or talking too much, and that finding that balance is difficult. And feedback's always welcome and great. And I have some people who will message me the feedback because they don't want to talk in chat, and I have other times where people will totally just chat it away. And it's interesting because you have to remember you're talking to the full public. You know, sometimes I'm talking to 8-year-olds, sometimes I'm talking to 48-year-olds, and they're all welcome. So trying to find a comfortable level there is interesting. It's tough, but yeah, I'm sorry, I babbled. The Mixer support staff is wonderful.
No, dude, again, this is the stuff that some people like really are gonna love. It does that, so we appreciate it. That's why when chance to get you here, we got all excited. We were all giddy. And
can I tell you a cool thing?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. This was so cool. This happened maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe a little less. I don't know. So in the past 2 to 3 weeks on Mixer, I've only been streaming about 2 months. The founder of Mixer, Matt, co-founder of Mixer, has shown up in my streams, spoken to me. Mixer staff have shown up. Developers of 2 different games have showed up in game just to talk about the fact that I was streaming their game. How cool is that?
That's
right?
awesome.
And I'm a very humble, like I'm a humble streamer. I don't mean that in terms of like following. I like myself, but like, you know, I just hit 200. That was a huge milestone for me. I'm not a partnered multi like 1,000 person, right? Like I might at any given time have 5 people in my chat, but they still, the founder of Mixer showed up just to test features and chat. Like that's awesome, right? Yeah. That's just cool stuff.
We love
the
you,
support that Mixer does is really, really cool. I like their interface. It's way better with the lag when you're dealing with the chat and just all the different things they're doing. And it seems like they're really forward thinking with everything and constantly trying to improve and find ways to make their platform better. And the fact that they're constantly interacting with the big streamer all the way down to the person who's got, like you said, maybe 5 people in the chat. That's amazing. That's the kind of support you want to see from a platform that you're on. So I think it's great. And I one day I'll figure out how to multitask and actually be able to pay attention to chat and play games, because I am terrible at that. That's why when we do a Destiny raid, coach, I'm not going to explain how to do anything. I'm just going to point my gun and shoot and have somebody who's much better at directing all the stuff, because I'm terrible at that.
Do you, man? Do you? So with that is the end of PSVG OT. We still don't know the number because I didn't look it up. So we just put something about the post-move show with the ghost, I think is what we titled it. But we love y'all. We appreciate you. Make sure you jump in and you talk to Luke and jump into his Twitter and his Mixer. Make sure you shout out Dev. If you get a chance, please make fun of Kevin. I don't care for sandals, the fact that he burns easily. Anything you want to do, just make fun of Kevin. We really appreciate that.
Just call him Justin. Call him Justin.
It's the same guy. That's his nickname. So with that, that's game over. Thank you.
Shut up and sit down.